and she was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's very cool.
yeah, which they should be. I mean, you all are just crushing it, and you're here, you're practicing, you're prospecting. It's really, really cool stuff. Really, really neat. It's fun to be a part of. It's fun to be a part of it.
Well, I want to um, say thank you officially in front of 30 people, 32 people to you guys,
The
Neil
information they
and
give us is
Robert
pretty
and
good.
Cindy. Make a big difference in my results being here and being part of this team. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Alex. But you're not leaving. It kind of sounds like a farewell speech, right?
Oh, no. I'm not leaving at all. No, I'm more in than ever.
Good job. Good job. You guys are doing a great job.
We love doing it. We love doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Waking up every day trying to figure out how to help you guys make another deal. Make another deal. So
Can I share something? I was
please.
really
Is this Jack?
filled. Yes, this is Jack. You can't see me talking, but yes. I overheard on the interview Greg did with Neil, interviewing Neil, and
It gets too hot, Daniel, and
Neil said that at the peak of the COVID, when everything just started to lock down, he even thought about having us call out of state and then refer that business out. So that's really trying to help us sustain, survive, and thinking of any ways possible to make money. I appreciate that.
Thank you. That's an absolute true story. On the eve when I really thought, my wife and I were discussing this, and we weren't sure which way the governor was going to go, and he could have gone either way at that particular moment. I had already had a plan, and I was going to call all my mastermind buddies in other states, and we were going to use our power of telemarketing, our group, and we were going to generate leads for them and then refer the leads to them, let them close on the transactions and get paid something, because I was not going to let you guys starve to death. There was no way that was going to happen. And while we're doing this right now, we're going to get started in our mastermind in just a second. I do want to take a minute and remind you, as the state is locking down and we're kind of going into a quasi quarantine, some of our past clients in our sphere are being doubly affected right now. So make sure that you're reaching out to them and you're being a resource and you're being a comfort and you're understanding. I say this because and don't go after the business, but call them and be available to them, and they will reach out to you and they will ask you about real estate. Be available. Know what's going on in your marketplace. Know your statistics. Know the fact that properties are selling. Know the fact that right now, 70% of all the transactions are vacant. 70% of all the properties that are going pending, 30%, 70% are not.
30.
Okay. 30% of all the transactions are vacant. So where do we find more vacant properties to be able to go after? That's the stuff we work on with you every single day. So that's the name of the game. AJ, I just want to make sure that we're streaming.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, fantastic. And we are recording?
Yep.
Done that before. All right, fantastic. Okay, so Mastermind with Neil Schwartz. We have a great guest with us today, somebody that I've known, oh my gosh. I was an old person already in real estate when he started. Alex Lehr, welcome, my friend. Welcome. Unmute yourself. There you go.
How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Speak up just a little bit.
Okay, I will make sure that I'm close and ready to go.
All right, fantastic. Well, I really appreciate your time, all the energy and things that you've done, and all the sharing that you've been, and the mastermind that you have been for us and a lot of the real estate agents that we work with. So, thank you for all those years. And on that note, how many years has it been?
36 years now selling. I started when I was 19 and I came from delivering pizzas to selling real estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see that transition.
I knew all the streets. I knew all the streets.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. So 19 years old, 30 something years, selling pizzas into real estate. And what area are you servicing mostly?
Well, just let me back up for a moment. I'm in Silicon Valley. So literally between San Francisco and San Jose, I'm dead center in a town called San Carlos, which is it's becoming a little biotech town. And we've got, so I'm in right on the peninsula, but the San Francisco Bay Area. And basically what we've got 4 economic drivers here. We've got high tech, biotech, financial services, and healthcare are our economic drivers that bring all the commerce to the area. So those are our clients. I went from being extremely expressive to learning how to speak analytical to the highest level.
Wow. Wow. That's quite a feat in itself.
Ooh. Yeah. New language, whole new language pattern.
Good job. So, right now, give us a little bit of a Reader's Digest. I mean, you have a team, you do this yourself. What's your story?
Sure. So family run business. And, my dad was an original broker back in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s. And then he opened a company back in 1976 and it was a 1-person office. And so subsequently I got into the business when I was in 1984. And at that point, I was going to a JC, trying to figure out what I really wanted to do. And so I got into real estate. I went to my dad and said, hey, look, I'm going to jump out of college, but I'd like to go into real estate. So there was a lady next door to his office that also had a real estate office. And she had trained all the top brokers in the area. So the very first thing she said was, for every door there is a bell, the more you ring, the more you sell. So literally, for the first 5 years, all I did was knocked on doors straight every day, no let up. I could tell you every door, every pair of shoes, and learned to be a good, on the fly communicator. So subsequently built into a business to where, and I'm looking at one of the things on our wall here in 2000, I was out selling all the agents in the county, just with myself and one assistant. In San Diego County. So we were, top agents in the county. And at that point I was selling about 75 homes a year with one assistant. So, then we evolved into developing a full communication telemarketing center. And this is the critical thing. And one of the things I love about Neil is Neil really watches numbers. I had a full telemarketing center. I had 7 people telemarketing every day. And then the advent of cell phones and then the drop of landlines. I was watching my ratios and I said, this is a dead end right now. So we transferred away from that. That was in 2007 and 8. And subsequently I told everybody, you've got 30 days to sell this many homes or you all have to get out of my way. Because at this point, the lion needs to eat. And if the cubs are in the way, I will eat them. So at this point, I had everybody step in and really step up their game. So here's what it comes down to, Neil, is about every 7 years, we've had to reinvent and re-evolve into a new technology and new morphing, but it's still a people business. So jumping one step ahead, my kids got into the business now. I have 4 kids, my wife and I, and now they're all working in the business, and their duty was for the first 5 years, they're knocking on doors. They go out on electric segways and physically knock on multi-million-dollar doors every day.
Wow.
And because we realized business moves at the speed of trust. And as that technology was rising, trust was dropping. So when they meet people door to door, face to face, it's a completely different experience. All that resistance was gone. So it really helped us evolving into better marketplaces as well.
That's great. So right now, your kid's still door knocking for you?
Every day. Literally right now, every single day.
So what's the 4 children?
Mm-hmm.
They're all, pardon me, on the sales side?
2 out of 4 are. My sons are out physically on the sales side. One of my daughters is transitioning from a listing coordinator into a buyer's agent. And then from there, my other daughter has always helped us with just being, she could run every aspect of the business. And truly now she's married, about to have her first child. So that'll morph as well.
So you're generating business at the doors, and I suspect out of 30 something years, you probably have a decent sized database.
Correct. Big mistake though was I was always taught to be a hunter, and that was part of the, with Mike, I was always taught, crush, kill, destroy, get the next deal, or that's how I heard it. Mike didn't say that, but that's what I heard.
Right.
So I didn't take care of my past clients. And the other thing about that was 7 out of every 10 people I sell leave the Bay Area. So I was like, oh, they're gone. I need more people. So I just became a really good gold miner. Subsequently, had I spent more time into that database, I still would have had their families, more of them. We still did well, but I could have done a lot better off of database.
So how big's your database today?
Right now, we boiled it down several times just to get more purity in it. And in true clean numbers, we've got about 1,000 of real clean numbers. And I'm probably about 2,700 transactions personally.
2,700 total in your career.
Yeah, for me personally, yeah.
Right. And how many are you doing? How many is your team doing a year, and how many are you doing a year now?
Well, last year we did 131 million, which was just about, and that was 78 transactions. And so subsequently, I was about 40 of those.
Okay, got it. Mostly listings or buyers and sellers?
Listings primarily, and listings, and then, but we've transitioned where we're early on this year. We were set to expecting to move it up 50% from there. And, just with COVID, it's put a little bit of a wrinkle in that, but it's sure. Actually, we're on a tear as we speak. Interesting.
Well, I want to talk about that just in a second. The 78 deals, how do they break down in terms of, are they expireds? Are they door knocking? Are they past client and sphere? How's that break down percentage wise?
In our market, expireds are almost non-existent, or I have not been working them. They're there, but it's too small a database for me to spend a lot of time personally. And what we found was that our guys on doors could find a lot of them anyway. And the irony was, you want to know one of the most ironic things? They were knocking on my past client doors that I never had phone numbers for. They go, oh yeah, Alex sold us the house. And so these guys were finding old past clients of mine on doors, and that became another avenue. And I was happy that they were getting that as well. But the majority of our business is my personal business is probates in the States, past clients. And then from there, then my guys that knock on doors, I call them, they're the bird dogs. They flush them, I shoot them. And I use hunting analogies. I use all kinds of analogies, but that's their function. They go out and sell 15 minutes. Their job is to sell 15 minutes to get me in front of anybody for 15 minutes. And then my job is to go in and sell our bundle of services. So that's what they're trained for, is actually to be able to open that door to get me in there. And then we'll either have a go see, which is the initial, because it's more of a rapport business for us. It's changed. It's not as much as go in, one shot and close. We've had to adapt because, again, it got so competitive that we had to earn trust and then come in with a bundle of services behind it.
So let's talk a little bit about that. When you say build trust and then sell the bundle of services, what does that look like?
So building trust looks like this. For example, like I said, because Tony Robbins 101 is, again, if you go to Business Mastery, it's business moves at the speed of trust. And as people, the noise levels have increased so much with so much information coming at people, their reluctance has actually increased, or what we found, we're finding more resistance. So subsequently, when we come in with a bundle of services, we come in and, because if I'm gonna digress for a moment.
It's an expressive. Of course, I would expect that.
We run a customer service business that happens to sell real estate.
Okay.
That is our model. So to that point, I own everything from debris boxes, dump trucks. I own a staging company. I own everything from, we're now building a storage facility. So we come at them with a bundle of services. And again, so we're able to, we have, because our clients are everybody from billionaires to beginners. And so they'll come in and say, hey, I need my house moved. Here's the keys. And I need to get my cars over here. I need this done, that done, that. So anything that needs to be done, the only question we ask is, which way did you want the car? And did you want it with the gas full when you get there? So they hand us a variety of their needs. And then I have a full-time person that assists my wife and just as a concierge. She monitors all those things. She works out the logistics. So we became a really more of a logistics management firm for a lot of clients, especially for the high end. Because I wanted, well, coming out of REO, and I'll digress again for one more downshift because expressive. So, so, we came from doing, REO in the REO days. I was selling about 220 homes a year. And I looked at our model, and then one day I said, this isn't working. So I flipped the switch. I told my team, I said, I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to prospect for the next 90 days and transform us from an REO business to a high-end business. I'm going to prospect at a higher price point. I'm going to adjust everything we do to cater to a higher price point. And that's how we got our price point closer to the $2 million mark.
So that's where you are now. Your average price point is 2 million?
Just slightly under, but this year it's going to be pretty close.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very cool. All right. So, okay. So the services that you're bundling, what do you want? Okay. It's kind of sounds like the presentation.
Well, we actually have it. I have it in a formula to where because again, I'm dealing with analyticals. So I literally break it down everything. When I'm speaking to an analytical, the whole point is, now I understand you want to move. And so if I'm scripting, I'm saying, well, now I understand you want to make this move. So if we're going to break this down to an equation, I have a formula that can generate that result. The only question is, did you want to apply this formula to your property? Because you're going to get a lot of agents that'll take a real slap shot approach, but we actually have an outcome driven process. The question is, when can I show you that? How can we better, more importantly, execute that and get you where you want to go? So it's very data techie type of foundation.
Right. So one of the questions, because right now everybody's in lockdown and more lockdown, et cetera, et cetera. Are you still you doing doors today?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the model?
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Very interesting. So do you do it any differently, or are you just outdoor knocking?
Outdoor knocking. They've got the mask more around their neck. Then as they knock, they step back from the door at least 6 to 8 feet. So because your first job is to read the apprehension on the other side.
Sure.
And so they're getting a sense of who the people are. And a lot of people, whether we buy into the COVID deal or not, a lot of people they're 100% infected with fed up. We're getting a lot of people that are fed up and they're like, look, man, I just want to get out of the state. I just got to do something different. I'm not going to play this lockdown game much longer. So we're at that point of capitulation, that tipping point for a lot of people. So we're harvesting data is what we're really doing, is building our database for those people that are either ready now or ready in the near future, because we're talking about the impact of COVID, the next wave. Did they want to get out before that window closes? Did they want to wait till after? So we categorize them and then we're putting them into our database and following those people. So, there's quite a bit of frustration we're picking up in the market.
From the clients.
So we're making sure that we're able to dispel some of that for them.
Good for you. Excellent. A little bit different approach here. I like that. How about the trust and probate sales? Where is that coming from for you? The telephone.
Yeah, I'm still banging phones and.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So how many years you've been doing this?
36 years.
36 years. And you still phone canvas?
3 hours a day.
So 3 hours a day. So at what do you pick up? 3%, 2.5%, 3% commission percentage, more or less?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
So
2.5 is an average, you know, so depending upon if we're really bringing a lot of services, up to 3.
so you're probably grossing just under $4 million in commission income a year for the company.
Right
Good
there.
for you.
Yeah.
Alex, baby. I remember when you were a little guy this big.
Well, don't you remember all the,
Look how you grew up.
see gray hair? That's amazing.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. No Grecian formula for you.
No, I earned every racing stripe. I'm going to show them proudly.
I love it. Fantastic. So you've got a $4 million commission income business. COVID hits, you're looking to go 50% above that. So you're looking for a $5.5 million year. And March 15th comes by, but that doesn't seem to slow you down in terms of the doors. What did it do to you? Did it do anything else internally for your team, plus or minus?
Well, you got to remember, and this is one of the things that I'm very cognizant of, is initially I told everybody we got to sit down for 60 days or 30 days as this whole thing initially irons out, because again, if we run out there trying to do a lot of business, we're going to appear tone deaf. Remember, fear was on the rise, and I had a graph where the stock market was getting impacted. Fear was on a rise. So I had to wait till the fear was dropping and then the markets were starting to rally. So I was watching the intersection of those graphs to where I told my team, go now. And then, but in the meantime, we were calling all of our clients exactly what you said and just reaching out going, hey man, is this the craziest time in history? Here's the deal. We don't know what's going to happen. But if you need to brainstorm and bounce some ideas, we'd love to share some of what we're hearing to what you're hearing. And then from there, if you've got a formulated plan long-term, we can help you at least put some of the stepping stones on that path. Fair enough.
Got it. Yeah, very cool. So Alex, shift gears with me just slightly. I mean, there's got to be a day or two amongst the last 36 years where you didn't want to do what you're supposed to do.
That's, put it this way, every day is you know, as you get older. I'm 55 now, and
so old.
All that good face cream, right? So you know, the thing about it is every day as I get older, I say this all the time. Every day I have to kick the lion and wake him up, because if not, weakness constantly wants to grow. So you have to wake up the lion earlier to eat that weakness that naturally wants to grow, because we're all going to get soft and comfortable and, you know, start whining and sucking our thumbs. But, you know, I've always been of the mindset that if I put the body in motion, the mind will follow. So I don't allow.
Heard that before.
Just, you know, a timer a million, right? So, you know, you just can't allow yourself the luxury of lazy.
Yeah.
That is just, you know, I've not.
Okay. I hear the words. And our group hears it, but dig a little bit deeper for me. Okay, Alex. I mean, Is it a book? Is it a podcast? You know, did your mom put cigarettes out on you? I mean, what gets you going, man?
Well, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna give you a foundational view of the world for me. And again, whatever anybody's spirituality is, that's entirely up to you. And if you don't mind, if I curse lightly without being offensive, you know, but here's what it comes down to. We are all here for a defined period of time, and nobody knows when our date stamp or expiration date comes due. None of us know that. But in the meantime, I've always looked at it where I've seen people with talent, and it always bothered the hell out of me that they had talent and they never played full out. So I always looked at it, if I don't play full out with what I'm doing, then it's the equivalent of telling, hey, God, F you, here's your gift, shove it. And that would never sit right with me with somebody that had been given a gift. And we've all, if we're in this industry, if we're all standing on this country, if we're all in this place, it's not an option really to squander the gifts that we've been given. And I just see it as disrespectful, not only to me, but to, you know, the struggles that others, you know, my family and my parents and all the rest of it, immigrating to this country. And not only that, it's I don't want to stand there and be some ivory tower legend that stands back and goes, oh yeah, this is how we did it. You know what? I don't want to be an adjective. I want to be a verb. Every day I get up and I do 20 push-ups. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It's the first thing I do. I take an ice cold shower because my brain hates it. I do a 5-minute plank because Cher can do a 5-minute plank. And I go, if that old bitch can do a 5-minute plank, I better be able to do a 5-minute plank. What the hell? So I look at myself and go, I can't be a puss. And they're going to keep us alive longer. So this might be my midlife. So if I put it in coast from here, I'm a dead man. And I watched some people let off the gas early when they had made a certain mark in life. Then suddenly, in their 70s, they, financially, they got in a little bit of time, but they lost their edge a long time ago. And I finally feel like I'm just getting good enough to really be lethal.
So Mike says that all the time. You start to make money after 50 years old.
Oh, it's, the right head is using the decisions, making the decisions, and our egos are finally had the crap kicked out of them enough. Right. To where now I'm like, okay, now I can see past my own bullshit and I can actually see what the people need and really guide them. So those are all the little idiosyncratic, stories and gears and cogs that make up the watch of my mind.
So where did you pick up some of that stuff along the way? I mean, I like that the metaphors of, if Cher can do a 5-minute plank, I can do a 5-minute plank. And I use that personally just to share is when I watch Mike Ferry, and Mike's about 6 years older than I am, and I see that, he can go for 3 days without sitting down at an event at full bore, and I'm having trouble with 30 minutes or 60 minutes and 90 minutes. Bullshit. I got to get back out there. So I get that part, but where's the rest of it come from for you? I mean, did your parents do this with you or?
No, but my dad was a great guy, did well in business, but he was also, he unfortunately had some issues with alcoholism and gambling, but again, a great guy, taught me a lot. But here's the deal. I am always designing myself 10 years out. So right now, my wife and I, we are working on ourselves at 65. What will that model, if you're designing a car, what would that model have in it? What would we like to see in each other? Would we be healthy or would we be slacking off? Would we be vibrant and lit up or would we be going, all right, honey, the best days are behind us. Yay. So right now, that is the game we're playing. So we're designing that for each other. But more importantly, I'm always looking at people. I have a psychological board of directors. So when I meet somebody and I go, here's the story, true story. I'm elk hunting in Utah. And this was about 3 years ago. I killed this bull down in the bottom of a canyon. So, I dress him out. We hang the meat bags in the trees, my son and I. The next day, we got to go back in with meat packs and get all that meat out of there. This is a big bull, probably 800 pounds of meat. So we bring one of the rancher friends of ours with us. We all strap on 80-pound packs of meat. This guy's 70-something years old. We're packing at about 8,500 feet. And he walked away from me like I was a little bitch. And I went, look at that. That freaking guy at 70-something years old just kicked my ass on this mountain. And you know what? That guy wakes me up every day.
Wow.
To this day, he wakes me up every freaking day when I feel like a little bitch. I go, that guy at 70-something years old smoked me. So I go, who on your team right now is stepping into real estate that's going to smoke me in my business? And I can tell you none of them because I won't let it happen. And that's a system you put in here that you won't be denied. You just want, because somebody is gunning for you. So Alex at 65 will kick Alex's ass at 55. I took up MMA fighting. Why? Because at the end of the day, now I've been choked out. I've choked people out. So I'm the whole deal fighting. It's sharpening my mind and my body not to be weak. So it's a series of processes that, because I heard this before where it's in a movie, but it says the problem with getting older is not aging. The problem with getting older is that men no longer fear you.
Ah,
And
interesting.
that won't happen. Because if we're in business and you see me pulling up, you better be scared. If we're in an alley and you see me walking in, you better be scared. It's the same fear. But I just make sure that that will not back off. Maybe about 90, I'll start to let off.
Or not.
Or not.
Or
Why not
not.
run through the finish line?
That's exactly right. Another great metaphor I've heard before.
Yes, just
I
a few.
like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, COVID, what's your post-COVID look right now?
How do you mean? Tell me.
I mean, you've ramped it up. It doesn't sound like you've let your foot off the pedal much at all. So what's the balance of the year look like for you in terms of activities? What things? Two things. A, what did you learn from the first half of the year that you're not going to do in the second half? And what did you learn that you're going to double down on in the second half?
So here's, and I'm going to, again, I'll build a little bit of a metaphor to help you translate this point. I race off-road motorcycles through torture races. And the thing that I hold on to is this: when it's hour 5 and it's just grueling and the most torturous race you can imagine, what winds up happening is I go, if I'm suffering, everybody else is already dead. So when I translate that into business right now, the first thing that I look at is right now, fear is running through the business. So they are running faster out of the fire while I'm running into it. So my ability to actually serve more people and be able to contact, not, market share, anything like that. My ability to save more people is increasing. So that is number one. The other thing is I sell certainty. I walk in, the first thing I sell is certainty. Because right now there's economic uncertainty, there's health uncertainty, there's all these uncertainties that people are dealing with. Tony Robbins 101, the first primary human need is certainty. So I make sure that when they meet me, there is not even a doubt in their mind that they are moving. The only question I ask them is cardboard. How much cardboard did you need? Because you will be moving. So but that's a mindset that I walk into. So the one thing that happened, the blessing in this whole COVID was day one it hit. I told my wife, I go, call every credit card and cancel every payment on every credit card, that anything that gets auto deducted. And we don't let it come through the gate unless we approve it. So we cut our expenses immediately within the first 30, 45 days. We cut it over $12,000 a month. And all the little BS drips that I don't even notice. And you go, $12,000 a month, that's a lot. But when you're making a lot, those little paper cuts, you don't even realize you're dying of 1,000 paper cuts. So we cut back a lot, number one. So we got really, really smart fiscally. Secondly, because I wanted to make sure I had good footing, because I'm going to fight. So I want to make sure I got good footing. Next thing is, then we started looking at where our database is, where's our clients, who are we going to help serve? Now going forward, literally every day, last week I sold 6 properties. This week I'll sign another probably 5 listings. And beyond that though, the whole game is just carrying momentum forward. While everybody else is fearful, it's Warren Buffett, be greedy while others are fearful, and fearful while others are greedy. So we're literally going out at a higher level now and just contacting those people and spending more time going deeper with them versus just, hey, can I sell your house? Hey, can I sell your house? It's, what do you really need? What's happening? So I'm calling past clients that I sold apartments to last year and said, hey, look, I know right now there's a lot of issues with COVID. When your tenants come to you with some issues about rent payments, do me a favor, let me speak to them. So I'm taking burden off of them. And now I just got 3 apartment buildings for sale. So literally people are looking for people that are willing to serve them when they're up against the ropes. So that's where we're stepping in and really, really, really pressing. Again, we run a customer service business. We didn't sell them that property to leave them hanging by that rope. We're going to help pull them forward through that. Even if it means selling some properties, even if I've got to help them get out at a reduced fee to make sure that they're healthy in the long run. So those are all mindsets.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Patty Billings in our company wanted to know what you say to the tenants. The tenants that you're talking to.
I literally had one from an Apple executive that we sold to apartment buildings. I talked to him last night. His wife texted me this morning, hey, one of our tenants is losing his job. And he asked me, what do I do? I said, let me speak with him. Literally got on the phone with the tenant. I go, here's the deal. There's two ways this goes. We understand that you're dealing with a hardship, and we are, and seriously, I am sorry, we're all having to deal with this. So now the question is, now that, excuse the expression, and I literally told him this, I go, excuse the expression, everybody is carrying a bucket of shit through this freaking COVID. The question is, how do we not spill it on each other? So in this case, we were willing to work with you based on what the emergency guidelines are. But what we'd like you to do is also try not to spill any of that or as little as possible onto the owner of the building. So here's how we do that. And I took him through the forms. Here's what the ordinance says. But more importantly, is there an option for you to move if you don't have the capacity to pay them? Because obviously the bank isn't going to take this note, this letter. They don't cash those. So can we help you find another way? He goes, you know what? I've got some other options. I go, man, if you're willing to be a good human, these sellers are the best people in the world, these owners, you know, we'd love to help you. So it's, again, creating more of a human aspect to it versus like, you're going to screw my seller and let me show you how I'm going to bird dog. It's like, dude, we all understand. So it's getting more human with people.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Very, very good. Okay. Questions for Alex. Questions for Alex.
Yes, I got a question.
Go ahead, please. Frank?
Hi, Alex. This is Frank. So I have a question.
Wait, you're FG3, because right now you're Frank Garcia the third, so you're FG3.
And I'm literally the third one in the office as well, too, by coincidence.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So quick question. So you said you go door knocking. Do you get a permit when you go door knocking in certain areas, or you just go for it?
We go for it, but some cities, we actually had to sue the city of Atherton, which is loaded with billionaires, because they didn't want to let us door knock. So we actually wound up suing them and then getting a permit. But every other city, you know, for the most part, some cities, the cops will come by and check. But if need be, we'll just go get a business permit if we have to.
It's usually someone that's really like anal about it or knocking. Otherwise, everyone's pretty cool.
I apologize. It cut out there for a second.
Oh, yeah, no worries. So I said it's pretty usually people that are pretty anal about door knocking, but for the most part, everyone's pretty cool, right?
Dude, you know what? They're all humans. And if you show up as a human, you know, they're cool. I mean, you know, and
do
that's.
You dress like suited and booted, or do you like what kind of attire do you wear?
Good question. That's actually a really good question. You know, for example, Silicon Valley is less formal. I would show up in a necktie, and I've got suits. I've got, honestly, you know, Neil, think about it. How many neckties you have? I literally have. We did it for insurance one time, and it was like almost 10 grand worth of neckties. You know, it was just ridiculous, and I now never wear them because my uniform is Silicon Valley check pattern, normally a vest and jeans, and I wear Allen Edmond here. Watch this. Allen Edmond tennis shoes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, so but it's all high end stuff, but it's again more casual.
Got it. Okay, good question. Thanks, Frank. Other questions for Alex? Other questions?
Alex, this is Josie. Hi. Thank you.
Hi, Josie.
Are you still involved in Mike Ferry?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you role play?
You know what? I role play with my team actually every day at 8 o'clock. I meet with my guys, and then we have a set schedule. Monday is we go over numbers, and that's market numbers, what's happening in the marketplace, all the stats. Tuesday is our office main team meeting. Wednesday, we go over our, as far as if there's any specific scripts. Thursday, we go over niche markets that we really should be focusing on. I'm sorry, Wednesday, flip that back. Wednesday is all of our buyers. We all get together because our guys find properties off market, for example, that don't go on the market. So we have everybody talk about buyers that might fit because we sell a lot of properties off market. So how do we create our own internal MLS? As that's what we're always working on. And then from there, Thursday is again, niche markets, and then we'll go over role plays. Or I always ask, what's the number one objection you've heard for the week? And then we go ahead and we develop the script around that, or make sure that they have the right delivery. So yes, I role play, but it's in a variety of capacities.
Good. Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Josie. Other questions?
I have a question, Alex. Thank you, first of all, for sharing. And question is, you provide a lot of service. Is that all included within the same fee, or do you have additional fees depending on what their other service you provide with?
Very good question. So again, our price point is pretty high, so, you can bury a lot of fees within that. So for example, like the staging, we own that. It depends on the house itself, whether we'll deploy staging. Because right now, especially because of COVID, we really want them to look good, the properties to look good. So we're spending a little more time in that area. But we up front, we don't charge them. If they don't sell with us, then they pay us. So they're incented to stay with us to make sure that the whole thing, or else they're going to be writing us a check for the staging, and that's built into the agreement. The storage, for example, right now I've got houses in shipping containers, and they pay us. When it comes to the dump trucks, part of logistics management, the first dump truck is free. Anything after that, they pay us. So we incent it to where they go, okay, well, that's great. We can get this process moving, because the majority of it is helping them extricate themselves from just the mountains of 30 years of shit piled in a house. That's the realities. So how do we get that snowball rolling? We got to make it easier for them to get the initial roll. And then once we get momentum, that's when they roll with us. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Good.
It's all about sometimes.
All right. Thank you. Good stuff. All right. Other questions for Alex?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Julian.
Alex, you mentioned when you wanted to break into a new price point, you sat and you prospected for 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
What specific lead sources were you going after? And in addition to phone calling, what other strategies were you using?
So good question. So here's the deal. Like, for example, in the Palo Alto marketplace, which is, again, a high-end marketplace, everybody says, oh my God, Palo Alto is so crowded. And you can't even open your teeth. You got to keep your teeth clenched because it's that sophisticated. And I'm like, you guys are so full of shit. This is just the worst. So literally, my guys went out, and before I let them out in the neighborhood, they studied every school. They studied what elementary school fed to what middle school fed to what high school, what neighborhoods. They had to know them inside out, upside down, forwards and backwards. So when they called or knocked on doors and people go, yeah, we're thinking of moving because we want our kids to go to Pali. They go, oh, are you in Duvernay now? They knew the schools. It was just a matter of being part, because you know what? They're part of the neighborhood. So part of it is getting yourself, because remember, you can go macro or micro. We go hyper focused because, again, the tech audience is very, very detailed and they love idiosyncrasies. So we make sure that we're hyper focused and have that knowledge, because, again, if they have the financial wherewithal to buy that property, then I've got to speak their language. So that was the key for us, is making sure that we spoke that language. I take my team every year down to an appliance warehouse, or not warehouse, but a high-end appliance dealer, so they can teach us the latest and greatest of all the high-end equipment in the area. I've got a contractor that builds $40 million houses. We go and study one of his builds every year. So that way, when we're showing these types of properties, we go, oh my God, did you felt line all your heat ducts to cut down on the air noise in your home theater? Oh, I love the fact that you ran radiant, hypoallergenic. Oh, by the way, is your mechanical? So this is all just the conversation of people that know. It's like if you drove a Schwinn bicycle and walked in a Ferrari dealer, they're going to know whether you belong or not. So the game is understand the Ferrari if that's what you're trying to go sell. So that's first and foremost. Then the lists are easy. The game is this: who are you when you show up? Wherever I show up, I belong, if that makes sense.
You had me at felt line vents. I love that idea.
Because remember, if you're an
my gosh.
If you're an audiophile, you will know there's one seat in that room where it has perfect audio for an audiophile. This guy works with Dolby. And so literally the room was designed. Everybody else's seat is off by 3 degrees. His seat has perfect audio. So again, if you're dealing with people that are that detailed, you better understand what they're seeing and not what I'm seeing. I'm not going to walk in and go, let me put a sign in your front yard and woo, sell your house. It's, gosh, as I walk through the house, I go, gosh, I love what you did. Triple stack crown. Tell me, did you use was that a natural wood or was that a manufactured product? So you could go as detailed as you want. But if you're going to be an authority, you can't commoditize. Here's the thing that I would stress for everybody. Every agent can sell a house, but then if you're like every other agent, they start dropping the fees on you because you're like everybody else. You can't commoditize expertise. I come in as an authority because I know their house better than they do. I know their product better than they do. I know their numbers better than they do. They're not going to chip on me on commission because they smell a difference the day I walk in. And that's how that game works. Don't allow yourself not to be the authority. If you're going to be in this business, be the best freaking surgeon or go become a veterinarian.
It's a great thought. It's a great way to end the event. I love it. Everybody unmute yourselves, please. Unmute yourselves, please. This has been a treat. Beyond. Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you,
Alex,
everybody.
Oh, you bet. That was really great. So we're going to take the next few minutes. You're welcome to hang with us, or if you need to move on. We always take the next few minutes and kind of go through and find out what we learned personally from this. I mean, mine is the felt-lined vent. So we don't
come on up.
I love that.
We'll walk some properties.
What a great idea. Okay, so what did we learn today from Alex Lehr? What did we learn? Who wants to
be
go
greedy when everyone is fearful? Run into the fire and be fearful when everyone is greedy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we've been talking about. We did that on March 17th when we went forward with this, and we are kicking butt and doing more business than all the other offices. And now we have an opportunity to double down.
Mm-hmm.
We have an opportunity to double down. Everyone else is freaking out. We stay focused. Okay, what else did we learn today? Go ahead, Josie.
Alex, when many 20 some years ago at Mike Ferry, and you were broke.
Mm-hmm.
And the next time you were on stage, you were bragging about having this huge garage that you built for all your toys for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you said you can't allow yourself the luxury of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Design yourself 10 years out. You have goals. I think you're still married with the same lady. You have 10-year goals with your wife. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. You're an inspiration. I love it. Or in life, we find that we're either an inspiration or an example. You, my friend, are an inspiration. What else? What else do we learn today? What else? Unmute yourself. Go ahead, Robert.
So first of all, Alex, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate your honesty about a lot of different things, not really sidestepping anything or tippy-toeing around subjects. Really appreciate that. A couple things I had written down here. He said, weakness wants to grow. Every day you have to kick the lion to eat the weakness that wants to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just a great way to start the day. You got to kick the lion. And then the other thing that I think this is the way you put it, is you have a psychological board of directors.
Yep.
I just like that, the way you had said that and kind of gone through that in the mindset. I mean, I have a bunch of other things, but those were the two that really, really stood out to me. So appreciate that.
Good. All right. Excellent. All right. Anyone else have anything they want to share?
I'd like to share something.
Go ahead, Patty.
I really liked, it's almost like you have to earn the right in a way to get to the higher price point. You can't just wish it, but you have to actively, study and learn and be qualified to talk to people in the different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
made a comment, Alex. I'm sorry. I really want to get this thought across. I don't think we've ever done this. We've done a lot of good stuff, but not what you did. You stopped your company and you made everyone know where the schools are at and what the feeder schools were and what the numbers were and what school went to what school, et cetera, et cetera. You can't be beaten if you know that information, and you can never take that information away from your people.
Mhm.
That's a foundation beyond a foundation that we're even playing with. I was very impressed with that, Alex. Good for you.
Thank you. It's, again, if we're going to truly serve, I think about it this way. If we walked into a surgeon and he walked in and went, which one do you think I should use? We'd all be like, get me out of there, or, get me out of there. Or if the cockpit, you walk up into the cockpit of the airplane and he goes, I wonder what all these gauges do. Nobody's going to stay on the plane.
What's this switch?
Yeah. So it's like, we got to walk in going, gosh, okay, that tells us this. This means that. Here's how, so we know, we feel it. And you don't have that, watch, sellers and dogs smell fear. And the moment we pause for 1 second, they go, something's off. We never pause.
Okay.
We're just comfortable.
Absolutely. Alex, great job. Please unmute yourselves. Let's give him a big hand. Good job, Alex Lehr. Also, we're going to post your information in the group chat right now. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. All right, Alex, really fantastic. Okay, Robert.
So Neil, what was your big takeaway?
Belt line vents. I pride myself on trying to help you guys all be better at what you do. And we do talk about schools and learning the schools locally, but not from the point where Alex took it. You can't go out in the field until you know all the schools in the market that you're working in and what feeds into what school. Because the minute you do that, you now control the rhetoric. Knowledge equals confidence. If you knew that, I just think, and you can take that to shopping centers, you can take that to social services, you can take that to many different things, but learn the schools. What's the value of real estate in most cities goes up and down based on the school district, yes or no?
Yes.
And in those school districts, it goes up and down based on the school that the kids go to, yes or no?
Yep.
It's basic 101. We need to know that. Basic 101. So you'll hear more about this. I love it. Okay. Robert, you have a fun thing to do now.
Yeah. Always fun following these people. That's always the fun aspect of it. Well, first of all, Neil, I appreciate that. You always, these interviews are great. He was great. I just loved how direct and honest he was.